Live from Washington, I'm Aisha Tanzeem and you're watching Access Point. The Washington Post story this week about increased American surveillance of Pakistan's nukes and the level of American anxiety over the safety of Pakistan's nukes raises serious questions about both. And we'll discuss both issues with our guests. Joining me in studio is Raza Jan, an analyst and the Pakistan team leader for the Critical Threats Project at the American Enterprise Institute. And via Skype from Boston, we have Adil Najam, Professor of International Relations at Boston University. Welcome to Access Point. But before I ask any of you a question, let's go to Sarah Zaman, who has feedback from our social media platforms. Sarah?
Thank you, Aisha. Among our social media commenters, there's almost unanimous consent that America should not be conducting surveillance of Pakistan's nuclear facilities. On Facebook, Syed Muhammad Ali says, among nuclear states, Pakistan has one of the smallest arsenals. So why should the US devote so much money and resources on it when this arsenal is only meant to deter aggression and has no extra regional or coercive motives? Why are the US and Russia, despite the Cold War being over for 23 years, still maintaining more than 90% of their nuclear weapons? Usman Umar says Pakistan is a sovereign country and secret surveillance of its nuclear facilities is against international laws and sovereignty of Pakistan. He asks, why doesn't America keep an eye on Indian nuclear facilities and weapons? He says this is because America has double standards. And Ismail Khan thinks America is establishing this idea that it has the authority to monitor the activities of the entire world. It wants to assert its supremacy, which is strongly resisted by many around the world. He says this act of the US is completely unacceptable. We also had the chance to speak to some people on the streets of Islamabad about this issue, and pretty much all of them agreed with our social media commenters. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
I don't think उसको कोई right है क्योंकि basically we all know कि मतलब उनके अच्छे relations हमारे साथ नहीं है. They can't be loyal with us.
अमेरिका एक सुपर पावर है, वो एक माना जाता है, पूरी दुनिया में माना जाता है, इसमें कोई शक नहीं, मगर उसको चाहिए कि दूसरे मुल्कों का भी थोड़ा ख्याल करें. ऐसा ना है कि वो सारा कुछ अपने लिए सोचे.
Both our commenters believe that this is an act that serves America's interests and not Pakistan's. You can read a lot more comments on our Facebook page. Just log on to facebook.com/accesspointwith AT or join the conversation at VOA Urdu's Facebook page. Now back to Aisha.
Thank you very much, Sarah. So, Raza, starting with you, agree, disagree with the commenters?
I mean, the commenters seem to be of the opinion that America shouldn't be or doesn't have the right to be monitoring Pakistan's nuclear weapons. Frankly, I think America, taking on the percentage of the burden of, maintaining international security, the capacity that it has, the security fears that it has, I think it would be extremely irresponsible from an American perspective if it wasn't looking at Pakistan's nuclear weapons. When you take into account the history of nuclear proliferation, when you take into account the fact that there is a persistent threat and there is fear over the security of Pakistani nuclear facilities and the people and the procedures meant to safeguard those nuclear facilities. How it obviously it infringes upon sovereignty, but spying infringes on all countries' sovereignties, but it's still a very normal part of the international system.
Adil, let me come to you. You teach international relations. As Raza mentioned, spying infringes on sovereignty, but it's a part of international relations to this day. So first tell me whether you agree or disagree with the comments, but also tell me, is America the only one doing it? Other countries, I'm sure, are doing the same.
I think countries spy on each other. Countries, you can call it spying, you can call it intelligence gathering, you can call it trying to understand each other. I hope Pakistan is also keeping an eye on the US arsenal. I think all countries should look and keep an eye on each other's arsenal, whether they are nuclear or chemical or any other form. That, however, is separate from the point of what this debate is really about. This is not about the US being concerned about nuclear weapons in Pakistan. Of course, the US is. Pakistanis are concerned about nuclear weapons in Pakistan. Pakistanis are concerned about nuclear weapons elsewhere, whether it is in India or in the US. What this is really about is that this report suggests that Pakistan is now seen not really as an ally, but as a threat, as a major security threat, maybe even to the United States. And that's the problem with this relationship. This too is also not new. But the problem with the relationship is here are two adult countries, Pakistan and USA, acting as if they were allies, when no one is believing through their actions, either in Pakistan or in the US, that they actually are friends or allies or anything resembling such a relationship.
Raza, Adil makes a very important point. Is it important, though, for the two countries to realize they're not really allies? I mean, how important is it to be honest with each other?
It is important, but I think at the end of the day, you have to look at the effects that you're trying to achieve. You have to be careful when you decide that you want to give up all pretense of friendship and strategic relationship, because once you declare somebody an enemy, it's very difficult to then work with them and to then try and build a relationship and to then achieve goals where they do dovetail. And when you do have aligning interests, it's much more difficult to achieve those if you've decided to go and basically, wave the red card and say, you're no longer a friend.
They're not my friend anymore. Adil, I'm sure you'd want to expand on that.
Just very quickly, not to dramatize this, but you don't have to declare someone an enemy. If you are bombing their territory, and if those bombs are killing their citizens, as one of the drones did today, it doesn't matter whether you call them a friend or not. Bombs speak much louder than PR. And you heard the comments from the Pakistani street. The word one of them used was loyalty. Pakistanis in general look at friendship, even in international affairs, from a very different perspective, maybe a wrong perspective. But the fact of the matter is that this pretense actually serves no purpose. In fact, what it does is, constantly calling Pakistan an ally, what it does is, it reduces US credibility in Pakistan and elsewhere. More and more of the world is believing that the US cannot be believed, partly because we keep having this sort of language which just doesn't jibe with our actions.
Now, one thing that it does is, Adil, exactly as you point out. Another thing that this Post story does is point out how worried the US is about Pakistan's nuclear arsenal. Now, I want to discuss that, but before we do that, some of our commenters also left some comments about that. Let's go back to Sarah Zaman and see what they had to say. Sarah?
Now, Aisha, Pakistan has seen some major security incidents in the last few years and months, most disturbing being the attacks on military facilities as well as the high security prison breaks. So we asked our commenters that considering these circumstances, to what extent can the international community believe Pakistan's claims that its nuclear facilities and arsenal are safe? Let's see what some people we spoke to on camera had to say, and then we'll move to social media feedback.
But मानने की बात है कि वो थोड़ा सा सिक्योरिटी लैक था और उनका जायज़ बनता है कि वो थोड़ा सा इस बात पे आर्गू कर सकते हैं कि दे आर नॉट इन अ सेफ हैंड्स, बट ये जो हमारे आइटमी हथियार हैं, दीज आर द सीरियस प्रॉब्लम्स, सो और सीरियस इशू है, इसको सेफ ही हैं और ये सेफ ही रहेंगे और इसके लिए मेरा नहीं ख्याल कि उन्हें परेशान होना चाहिए.
Such types of accidents are not only taking place in Pakistan. Also such type of accident like in Bombay attacks, Indian Parliament, also such incidents are being taking place in many other countries. Now, it cannot be that such incident only in Pakistan. We make them the basis that Pakistan nuclear weapons are not safe.
So both our commenters think that security lapses are indeed a harsh reality, but that doesn't mean that the security of Pakistan's nuclear facilities can be compromised. On Facebook, Asmat Ali says these locations are not very sensitive and it's easy to attack them, but Pakistan's nuclear facilities are under very tight security. Even American facilities are probably not that secure. Mubin Tariq believes Pakistan's technical and procedural nuclear security operations have evolved significantly since the nuclear test in 1998. The country, he says, has been a frontline state in the war on terror for the last 12 years, and still there has been no nuclear security incident. He says Pakistan's record in this regard is par excellence. And Asad AD asks, after a major terrorist attack like 9/11, how can the world accept America's claims that its nuclear weapons are safe? There are many more comments on our Facebook page that you can read. For now, let's go back to Aisha and our experts.
Thank you very much. And again, Adil, I'll come to you and ask you some of the comments that are made. Because of the history of Pakistan, because of the current security situation in Pakistan, can America or the world afford not to keep an eye on Pakistan's nuclear weapons?
The world should keep an eye on Pakistan. I think Pakistan should keep an eye on Pakistan's nuclear arsenal. As a Pakistani, I want to be assured. As a Pakistani, I want to be assured not just about Pakistan, but about other countries. I want to know how the Indians are doing. I want to know how the Chinese are doing. I want to know how the US, the only country that's ever actually used nuclear weapons, somewhat needlessly, at the end of a war back in the Second World War. I want to know how they are doing. We as global citizens should keep an eye. The question is, how do we do that? When friends, I think the question on nuclear security in Pakistan is very legitimate. One way for the US, if it were a friend, would be to say, hey, government of Pakistan, let's work together to make sure your installments are more secure.
Let me interject here. Adil, let me interject here. Let me interject here. The US has offered Pakistan some very sensitive instruments, and Pakistan, because it doesn't trust US, has refused to install them or work with US beyond a certain point.
Needs to be discussed. I think the point that the Pakistanis have been making and the US has been making is, what is the nature of the relationship on security arsenal, on nuclear arsenal between US and Pakistan? Is it the same as between US and India? Do we need more international safeguards? Do we need a better international regime? See, look, what's happening in Syria with chemical weapons once again reminds us that we as humanity have created these monsters, these weapons that are far beyond our need to kill, whether it is in Pakistan, whether it is in the US. Now, are we going to go back to this, politics of espionage, where we are going to have these James Bonds running around the world? Remember Raymond Davis? That is the type of thing that these will lead to. Instead of countries coming together and maturely and sensibly saying that this mad arsenal, weapons, mass destruction has to somehow end.
Reza, Adil makes a very good point, but Washington Post story, and I want to read something out here. Sure. It says, fears about the security of its nuclear programs are so pervasive that a budget section on containing the spread of illicit weapons divides the world in two categories, Pakistan and everybody else. So take the point that Adil made, that we want to know about everybody's security, and tell me, is Pakistan not different, or is this totally a ruckus created?
If you will. I think Pakistan is different. Obviously, you want to know about everybody. The United States, I'm sure, has programs and surveillance programs to monitor a host of countries. In fact, in that same story, it mentioned that there was a surveillance effort focused on Indian nuclear weapons as well.
And one of our commenters mentioned India. Right. They do look at India.
They look at everybody. I think, but Pakistan receives an overwhelming focus for, I think, a couple of reasons. The first is the fact that it does have a history of nuclear proliferation, and this wasn't, a rogue piece of equipment or something, going missing. This was what looked like a sophisticated network to, sell nuclear technology and know-how to countries that the United States considers to be an enemy. So there is a history of that makes them extra wary. Plus, there is what they see as the additional risk coming from the current circumstances, whether you feel it is a risk that nuclear facilities or transported nuclear weapons in the course of being transported are under risk from interdiction, or whether you feel that there's the worry of people not being trusted, fear of insiders, double agents, people being radicalized and turning over such materials to militants. So there's, between the two of those, I think the risk to Pakistani nuclear weapons is higher than you'd seen in a lot of other places, and that's probably why it gets as much attention from the United States as it does.
Adil, two particular risks are mentioned vis-a-vis Pakistan. A is the risk of proliferation because of the history, and B is the risk that the militants will either attack a nuclear facility or they'll be inside penetration. They'll just become members of ISI and military and get access that way. Do you think these fears are overblown?
I think the risks are real. I think the risks on the world that we live in, with terrorism happening across the world, certainly in Pakistan, are very, very real. That is why I think we need a different sort of a nuclear regime. What we don't need is the vigilantism of any country, even if it is the world's most powerful country, to say we are going to take it in our own hands. And through these clandestine methods, through spying, through secret Raymond Davis-like operations, we are going to take on the responsibility. That is fundamentally against the norms of international behavior on security. We have an international nuclear regime. That is, if the US is concerned about Pakistan, as it should be, as I am as a Pakistani, then let's make that part of the international regime. What is wrong here, and I think what is offensive here, is just like in the Syria case. Here is a country saying, we are going to just take it into our own hands. And there, I'm sorry, the US track record is just not good enough. The US track record of knowing what's happening in the world is not good enough. The US track record of doing anything preemptively about stopping these bad things is not good enough. The US was keeping an eye supposedly on Pakistan even when that proliferation happened. The US was keeping an eye on itself when proliferation happened from the US, as it has also happened over the last 60 years. So what I'm saying is, yes, be concerned. Please be concerned, because if something goes wrong, it's Pakistanis who are going to die well before any American does. Please keep an eye, but do not do it in this vigilante fashion of saying, we know best, and we are going to do it our way, and we are going to disregard an entire 60 years of an elaborate international effort to do something about nuclear proliferation.
Raza, Adil makes a good point, but is it practical?
I love the idea. I'm on board with the sentiment. I'm not sure how you accomplish it. I don't remember.
IAEA.
IAEA.
IAEA, yes, but I mean, we've seen examples of it in the past. It's very difficult to pull together in a practical manner, especially when the country in question, which is Pakistan, is not cooperative, partially because it has been the way that India and Pakistan came into the nuclear regime.
Let me bring
was
Adil's
different.
argument into this. If Pakistan's not working with the US, why would Pakistan not be more willing to work with IAEA and share some of the safeguards that US does want to offer it?
No, I think India and Pakistan both have for a long time sort of maintained a very high degree of autonomy over their nuclear programs. India has started to be normalized into the nuclear system through the nuclear suppliers group and such. Pakistan has not been to very large extent because of its history with nuclear proliferation. So I think that's sort of tainted it and made it more difficult for countries to trust Pakistan, to be able to trust Pakistan and to work with it. And that has sort of reflected back. And Pakistanis themselves are now more wary of international institutions. It sees them as trying to tamp down or put, infringe on its freedom to, increase, improve its nuclear deterrent. So I don't think there's any desire from Pakistan to have international involvement of any sort in its nuclear program. That's something it's always tried to maintain its autonomy on.
And Adil, how do we do it if Pakistan does not have desire, as Raza says?
Okay, we do it the same way we've done it before with Pakistan and with other countries. All countries are wary of opening up too much of their security installment, any type of security installment, to total international inspection. However, when all countries do it, others find it easier to follow. That has been the norm. That's the lesson of 60 years. As I said, the US track record in this itself is what makes people doubt both the US capacity or the US honesty in what it is saying it wants to do. That is the nub of the problem. Frankly speaking, I think what this report suggests is most of this is not about nuclear anyhow. This is a way of putting a large, very large chunk of budgetary money into a sort of camouflaged account by raising the specter of nuclear proliferation. This is really about the ever-deteriorating condition of the relationship between the US and Pakistan. It's got very little to do with nuclear. Your 3 consecutive US presidents, multiple US Secretary of States have constantly been saying that the Pakistanis are actually working closely with the US on nuclear security. Much of that security that others have talked about have actually come with US collaboration in Pakistan. So this really, I think, is about something totally different. It isn't about nuclear proliferation. This is about the worsening condition of US-Pakistan relations. And I think it's a bad omen.
I want to move the debate, Adil, to something that you said earlier, which is you as a Pakistani, we as Pakistanis should be worried. But before we go there, let's go back to Sara Zaman and find out what people on our social media platforms are saying about that.
Aisha, when we asked on our social media platforms whether Pakistanis are concerned about the safety of their country's nuclear facilities and weapons, most commenters not only said they're not, many in fact got angry at us for even asking this question. Naeem Salek says America's worry is that their intelligence agencies have not been able to gather enough information on Pakistani nukes that in itself should be seen as a tribute to Pakistan's security system. Tasneem Tabassum thinks this is American policy. They first accuse a country, create uncertainty, and then attack it. Pakistan's nuclear program, she says, is 101% safe. However, Khalil Rahman is among the few on our Facebook page who are concerned. He says, considering the fact that the military and government have not been able to overcome a few thousand Taliban, while thousands of Pakistanis have lost their lives, how can I say that Pakistan's nuclear weapons are in safe hands? Let's also quickly hear what some people we spoke to said in their video comments.
Everything is safe here and we can handle our situations.
आई थिंक पाकिस्तान के जितने भी असासे है न्यूक्लियर जो भी है आई थिंक ये बिल्कुल ही सेफ़ नहीं है क्योंकि मुल्क में इतने सेक्टेरियन वायलेंस इश्यूज़ इसके अलावा गवर्नमेंट का जो प्रॉब्लम है मसलन लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सिचुएशन पॉलिटिकल इंस्टेबिलिटी इन चीज़ों की वजह से मुझे लग रहा है कि ये सेफ़ नहीं है.
So while our first commenter is confident about the safety of Pakistan's nukes, the other one thinks that the current law and order situation indeed poses a threat to nuclear security. To share your thoughts and read what others are saying, join us on facebook.com/accesspointwithat or log on to VOA Urdu's Facebook page. For now, back to Aisha and our experts.
Thank you very much. Raza, so are you as confident as some of the people we saw?
You know what? I'm not that worried about Pakistan's nuclear weapons. One of the commenters actually made an astute point, which is the fact that the United States itself is looking to close information gaps or has large information gaps on its knowledge of Pakistan's nuclear weapons and the procedures surrounding them, means that Pakistan's gone to some extent to successfully conceal those activities, and that effect, that has effects not just on the United States who might try and surveil the program, but militants
general,
or other bad
job.
actors who
They're
try
doing a
and
good job.
infringe the program. It's much harder to hit a nuclear weapons site than I think people give it credit for. So I'm not that worried about the physical security of the weapons. I don't think that the majority of people really lose sleep on things like nuclear weapons on a daily basis. There's so many other problems that I think it's just something, that gets swallowed up in the noise.
Okay, well, Adil, one thing that I want to ask you is, are you worried about some kind of internal penetration inside the ISI or the army getting access to nuclear weapons by the militants or extremists?
I'm worried about nuclear weapons, period. All nuclear weapons everywhere. I just think they were a bad idea to begin with, and they continue to be a bad idea in today's world with all this parastatal security operations and so on and so forth. So I am worried about them. I don't know if they are safe or not. As a citizen, I'm not supposed to know. I don't know how safe Pakistan's arsenal is. I don't know how safe the US arsenal or Indian arsenal or Chinese arsenal is. That is the nature of the security apparatus. But the point that you make, I think the question that has been raised is an important one. In terms of nuclear, because there is so much attention international as well as domestic, it is much more attention is paid by the security operation in Pakistan on its nuclear arsenal. Therefore, it is logical to assume that they themselves are keeping a far greater, closer eye on nuclear issues than they are on all other sorts of installations, and that is natural for all countries. So I think there is a lot of concern in Pakistan as well as internationally on making these safe from these terrorist operations. Now, the only real safety, I think, comes again in a world where we actually get to the nub of the nuclear question and not this squatting of flies by looking for one bad guy after the other.
Raza, do you think you see that happening anytime in the near future?
I'm not sure I see a nuclear zero happening anytime soon. It's obviously something that's desirable, but I think it's something that is, further off in the future. To his point about Pakistan taking extra precautions with its nuclear weapons, I would agree. In fact, it's the way that they handle security for it is separated in some ways from its regular security. Within the army, there's a separate organization called the Strategic Plans Division, which is in charge of site security for nuclear weapons. They have their own force, their own men. There's a separate three-star general who heads it. And from what I understand, they're much more rigorous about internal checks, background checks, scrubbing their personnel, making sure there's no bad apples, so to speak, amongst them. Something which doesn't always happen with the rest of the military, because it's obviously a much larger organization and they're not very good at doing it at such a large scale. But I think within that, there's definitely much more of a focus on making sure, more of a focus than with the regular army at making sure that there's no fear of infiltration or conversion or radicalism, so to speak.
Adil, one thing that some people say is that the military, whether the lower ranks or the higher ranks, come from the society. And when the society seems to be moving to a particular direction, in Pakistan's case, more extremism, more intolerance, why would or should anyone assume that the military in general is going to be any different?
No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. And then the question is, what do you do about it? And that, again, my point again and again is that it is perfectly legitimate to be concerned about nuclear weapons in Pakistan. The question is, what do you do with that concern? Do you throw money into these sort of secret-like operations and creating more Raymond Davises, or do you actually create better cooperation between the US and Pakistan? Honestly, I believe that Pakistan would be far more willing to work cooperatively with the US on this issue than on many other issues because it has become so central to its reputation. Pakistan, from an international relations point of view, understands that there is a massive image problem that it has with its nuclear history. And that is the reason why it would be more willing to work with the US if, in fact, those terms could be agreed to. And that, I think, is what the troubling sign here is, that the US is moving away from what over 20 years has largely been a path of cooperation. Tentative cooperation, not very good cooperation, sometimes cooperation with leaks. But if you move away from that and you start talking only in terms that are very much like how you talk about quote-unquote enemy states, then that does not help the cause of solving the problem. It only exacerbates it.
Do you think?
Remember, one very last point.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead,
None
Adil.
of us have mentioned Korea.
I'm sorry, go
None of us,
make that point again, Adil.
none of us, when the concentration becomes from the US on only Pakistan, that is what starts offending people in Pakistan. That why are we not talking about other hotspots in the world? And why are we singling out Pakistan in a particular fashion? So what I'm talking about here is, let us try to build on nuclear cooperation in the world. We don't need to get to zero nukes, but let at least get to N minus something.
You think, Raza, that the cooperation is cooling off, becoming less between US and Pakistan?
You know, I don't know. I'm not sure I'd say that. We definitely saw a sharp tapering off of the cooperation following the Osama bin Laden raid in 2011 and the bad year that followed that. And then we started to see an uptake and things started to normalize. And right now, I think the United States is actually, it seems like things are in a sort of stasis. The cooperation, the strategic partnership has become a little bit more transactional. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, I think the United States is trying to give the Pakistanis a little bit of a berth, some breathing space. There's a new government in. They're trying to let them do that work, come to terms with it, go through their honeymoon period, go through the teething problems, and trying to figure out a relationship with a government that is representative and that is trying to get a hold of governance in its country, including over a military that has traditionally pulled most of the strings. And secondly, I think the United States' focus is also changing. They're starting to leave Afghanistan, and their priorities are starting to change.
Just very quickly, because we're in the last 1 minute of the show, add to it, doesn't the Pentagon and GHQ work on a separate level, even when there's a government change, etc., especially on issues like this?
Absolutely. I mean, you've got lines of communication that are open all the time, that are really, they aren't really changing until you've got in the movement in and out of different military personnel. But even then, things over there are generally they're much more stable, and that exists, regardless of whether the government is changing in Pakistan or America. There are some realities that don't change.
Do not change.
Counterterrorism, drones, that stuff is steady.
I will have to interrupt you here because our time is up. I wish we could talk again. Adil, you make a good point, but let me thank both of you, Raza Jan, an analyst and the Pakistan team leader for the Critical Threats Project at the American Enterprise Institute, and Adil Najam, Professor of International Relations at Boston University. And thank all of you for watching us. Leave us your questions, comments, suggestions for future shows, or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Find out the latest stories. Until next time, goodbye.